Hello, this is Vishwas Sawan. Who doesn't want to be in a state of love at all times? Above all, who doesn't want to be in lovemaking at all times? Men definitely want to make love for a longer duration of time. However, the tragedy is that majority of the men are unable to stay in lovemaking for a longer duration of time. One of the main reasons is men's addiction to ejaculation. Because of their drive and quest to ejaculate, the men are always target oriented or goal oriented. And that's exactly where they fail to make love for a longer duration of time, which makes them frustrated. One of the ways to overcome this is to practice ejaculatory choice. Ejaculatory choice is a regime in which men decides when to ejaculate and how to ejaculate. Because when you ejaculate, you actually lose the sexual energy. In one of my blog, I talked about 8 benefits of practicing ejaculatory choice. After I wrote that blog, many asked me that we understood the benefits of ejaculatory choice, but could you give us some tips as to how do we practice ejaculatory choice? So here I am. I'll be sharing with you 3 tips of practicing ejaculatory choice. But at the beginning, let me tell you that there are many more tips, many more practical exercises, and many more conditionalities or attitudinal changes that we can embrace upon, whereby we can use and implement the regime of ejaculatory choice. Today, what I am going to share are the 3 tips that you practice before the intercourse, the tip that you practice during intercourse, and the third one will be the tip that you practice after the intercourse. Men are always in a hurry, and therefore when you get into the room where you make love, you are always focused on 2 specific parts of women's body, her breast and a vagina, and then we ignore the rest other part of women's body. But let me share a secret with you. Every millimeter and centimeter of women's body is as erogenous and as erotic and as sensual as her breast and the vagina is. Now, because men are focused on her breast and vagina, there is a level of anxiety, excitement, which makes them to come earlier than what they really desire to. Therefore, my first tip will be focus on every other part of women's body in her entirety, starting from her hair to her toes. Give more attention to her forehead, her lips, the nose, the eyebrows, the ears, the region of the neck, and then coming down to other parts of the body. Defocus your attention from her breast and from her yoni. When you give attention to other parts of her body will become more sensual, more sensitive, and her body will expand. As her body expands, automatically there will be a greater feeling of arousal within the woman. This greater feeling of arousal will open her up, and she will be more receptive to embrace you, to welcome you inside of her garden of love. And when she welcomes you with a sense of satisfaction, you will be able to stay longer in the women's vagina. As you will be able to stay longer, and that your own level of anxiety and excitement will be at its minimal, you will be enjoy the fruits of lovemaking for a longer duration of time. So that's tip number 1. Defocus from her breast and vagina and give more focus and attention to other parts of her body. And this is something that you could practice before the actual intercourse. The second tip is awareness during intercourse. Many a time we are target oriented, so we are always looking into the future. So we want to ejaculate. Therefore, we move in and out of women's vagina with a greater speed. Quicker the better is what we have misunderstood. As a consequence, you will ejaculate faster. What I suggest you to be present, keep the awareness, keep your eyes open, move in slowly and slowly inside and outside. Feel every inch of her vagina or every millimeter of her vagina. With the faster movement, there will be more friction, and women definitely don't like frictions. They want a sensuality to be aroused. And if you move slowly, more sensuality will be aroused. But the biggest benefit that you will reap is that you will not quickly reach to the tipping point. Or even if you are reaching to the tipping point, you will be aware, and therefore with the realization that you are coming closer to the tipping point or ejaculatory point, you will be slow down and become still. In fact, I always recommend that when you enter into woman's vagina, stay still. When the vagina and the penis will talk and communicate with each other, they will develop the chemistry to embrace each other. And therefore, my second tip is to slow down during the course of intercourse or during the actual intercourse. And what makes you to slow down is a sense of self-awareness. And the third thing is that if you have chosen to practice ejaculatory choice and you have not ejaculated, there will be a greater amount of energy that will be gathered or assimilated around your penis and the regions around the penis. There is a need to uplift that energy from your lower energy chakra towards the higher energy chakra. And therefore, my third tip would be to involve yourself and engage yourself into creative, productive, and innovative ideas and work. Let me explain this a bit. Say, for instance, you have been in a lovemaking session with your partner or lover for a duration of an hour or more, and you have not ejaculated. So there will be an energy that will be accumulated at your lower chakras. Now that may create a pain to some men, in some men. The best way that I have observed is that after the lovemaking session, if you are an author, then sit down and write. If you are a painter, then take out your sketchboard and start painting. If you are a skater, then go and practice the skating. If you are an artist who likes to make sculptures, get back and do the sculpturing. Or whatever that your business or your hobby is, involve yourself in a creative productivity. Now, when you involve yourself into creative and innovative work, the energy will be automatically lifted up from the lower chakras to the higher chakras. And it has been my experience that when I involve myself into creative work after the lovemaking session, my creativity has much better quality, productivity and efficiency. So these are 3 very simple tips. Let me recap these 3 tips that helped me personally to practice ejaculatory choice. Tip number 1: defocus from breast and vagina and refocus on other parts of women's body. Tip number 2: be aware and be slow during the actual intercourse. And tip number 3: involve yourself into creative and innovative work after the lovemaking session, during which you have practiced or adopted ejaculatory choice. These 3 tips I practice at all times. They have helped me immensely, and I'm sure they will help you too. Let's conserve, save and reutilize the sexual energy, because you don't deserve to lose that very vital life force energy. Welcome to the club of ejaculatory choice. Have a great day.